I need everybody quiet and focused. Everybody's quiet, focused, and raring to go. Some of you are already working on it, God bless you.
Calm down.
All right, and then when we are done with, oh Lord, when we're done with the, glad you're here. All right.
I thought you left over there.
Okay. All right, so here we go. We have time after we're done. I'll answer any questions you have about the papers I turned in. All right, so we're gonna start by finding inverses. And so see the answer blanks down there? We're gonna do all the work and we're gonna fill in those answer blanks, okay? That's what we're gonna do tomorrow. So here we go. I'll think of this as y, and then what? Change my variables, right? And this one's easy. I can get y by itself, so I'll subtract 7 and divide by 4. So in the answer blank down at the bottom, it says f inverse equals, I'll put x minus 7 over 4. Right? Easy. All right, this is the same thing, but it's not going to be quite as easy because when I switch the variables, there's going to be 2 y's. Right? And my goal is to get y by itself. So we have a series of steps we go through to do this. What's the first thing we do? Multiply by that, right? So we have x times 3y plus 4 equal to 2y minus 1. Now what? Distribute. Now remember, the reason this is an issue is because we have 2 y's. So we're going to get those y's on the same side of the equation. So these two are going to change places. So 3xy minus 2y negative 4x minus 1. Now we still have 2 y's left. Not for long, because what are we going to do? Factor. So y, to bring the y out, 3x minus 2. And then we're almost done. We're going to divide by 3x minus 2. And our inverse, what we're going to write in the answer blank, is negative 4x minus 1 over 3x minus 2. Right? Okay, number 2. Number 2. We are going to, we got this picture, and we're going to sketch the inverse of it eventually. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and label these points. You don't have to do this, but remember, to sketch the inverse, I am going to switch all the ordered pairs, right guys? So it helps me to have them all labeled, but you don't have to do that. I'm not grading that, but you are going to have to sketch the inverse. All right, let's go in order. Number A, is f inverse a function? Okay, now read that carefully. it says, is the inverse a function? Wait, how do we tell that? Not vertical line test, we do the horizontal line
Oh, yeah.
test to check the inverse, right? So does it pass the horizontal line test? No. So the answer is no, it's not, because f of x doesn't pass the horizontal line test. All right, now, stop a second. What if it said, is f of x a function? Yes, because it passes the vertical line test, right? So the function, the original is the vertical line test, and the inverse is the horizontal line test. All right, sketch the inverse. All right, so I'm just gonna take all my ordered pairs and try to do it in an organized way. So I don't care which end you start on, but start so you can connect them the right way. So I'm gonna start 0, -3, -1, -2, -1, -1, and 0, 0. So there's the first set. And then 1, 1, and 0, 2. Done. It is that easy. If you don't end up with basically the same shapes, you're wrong. So like if you tried to do this and you ended up with 2 triangles, you're wrong, because you're gonna have a trapezoid and a triangle, just like the original. They're just situated differently, right? Okay. Now, create your own function. Who signed that? Oh, Mr. Martin?
Yeah.
Create your own function that is 1 to 1. So what does that mean? You need to draw a picture that passes both tests. That was a homework question. And most of you just drew a line, and that was fine, right? So this passes both tests. If you think of your BFFs, how about the square root function? Does it pass both? There are lots of BFFs that you can use. A line is fine. Now, what if it said, draw your own function that isn't 1 to 1? Well, a circle's not a function. You could draw a parabola, right? You could draw an absolute value, V. Those guys are not 1 to 1. All right, page 1 done. That seems easy. I think I got an A+ on the first page. All right, number 4. Oh gosh. Number 4, easy, easy, easy. Don't let it look scary. Your job is to find x comma y. How are you going to do that? Plug in -2. So what is x going to equal? There we go. 11. Boys and girls, come on now. What's -4 times -2? 8. 3 plus 8 is 11. Come on. All right, what's y? To answer this question, we just plug in the t value and do the arithmetic. All right. What about 5? What is my job in number 5? Get rid of t. Now there's more than one way to do this, but the way we've been doing it is we've set up our problem for elimination, to eliminate t. So I lined them up. What do I need to do? If right now, if I add right now, I'm not going to eliminate t. So what do I need to do? Times the whole bottom row by -2. -2. So x equals 1 plus 6t, and then -2y equals -6t. Here's where we get mistakes. Remember, you're multiplying the whole equation by -2, including the y. That look okay? Now I'm gonna add them. These don't combine, so x minus 2y equals 1. And I'm done. Find the direct algebraic relationship between x and y means eliminate t. Number 6. Okay, this is one of those where you have to figure out what changed. So look at these shapes, and let's make a list. What do you think changed? What happened? Looks like we've sideways flipped and went up 1. Be careful. I don't think we times by anything, because if I look at, I don't know, pick a shape to look at. Look at that first little bottom triangle. It's 1. See how that's 1? When I flipped it over to the other side, isn't it still 1? It's been moved up, but isn't its height the same? So I think that's it, guys. I think those are the only changes. So we're going to write an equation. Start off with y equals f of x, and then stick something in it. So how do we get a sideways flip? Negative on the x. How do we get an up 1? There you go. There's the answer to the question. And finally, are these guys inverses? Why or why not? How are we doing this one?
Plug in a number.
Plug in a number. What number you want to plug in?
3.
I heard 5 and 3, so I'll plug in 8. All right, so I'm going to plug in 8. What do I get when I plug in 8 to f? 2 times 8
11.
minus 5 will be 11. Now take that 11 and plug it into G. 11 plus 5 divided by 2. Whoa, are we inverses? Yes. Because to be an inverse means 8 goes to 11 and then 11 goes to 8. If this had turned out to be a 7, then the answer would be no. Because you have to get back the same number that you started with. Okay,
So when you pick the number to plug in,
any number you want.
you plug it into
F.
f of x,
Mhm.
and then you solve, and then that's how you solve it.
I get an answer. When I put in 8 here, I get 11.
Okay.
2 times 8 minus 5, then take that answer and put it in here.
Take that answer from f of 8,
Yes.
and then plug it into
Yes,
the
it's
sheet.
just like a composition, yep. All right, now we have our word problems. Here we go. Number 1. Okay, there's gonna be 4 word problems on the test, right? What are the 4 word problems gonna be? You're gonna have a box. You're gonna have a mixture. You're gonna have a difference over original. And then you're gonna have, I went to the store and bought something that was on sale, right? That's what you're gonna have. So here we go, our box. First question says, write an equation for the volume of the box. Volume or y, I put V here, you can put y. Equals what? 12 minus 2x 20 minus 2x times x. Okay? If you miss that, you're gonna get a big old ah on your paper. Because these are always the same, right? All right, how about domain? That's always the same too. What's my domain? 0. This one will be 6. Why is it 6? Half the smallest number, half the smallest dimension. And then, now I have to go to my calculator. And adjust my window. And then I'm going to put in this equation. And then I'm gonna hit graph and hope that I see what? What do I want to see when I hit graph? A hill? I do. So I'm gonna do second calc maximum. And then I'm gonna move my cursor over to the left, over to the right, in the middle. And if your calculator has the word maximum written on it, you're good. You have the right answer. Okay? If it doesn't say maximum, you're not done. It's gotta say maximum. So I got 2.43 and 262.68. I rounded to the nearest hundredth because that's what the directions say. Anybody else get that?
Well, that's huge.
Okay. Now, what do I put in the C answer blank? I'm warning you, if you put this down there, if this is what you put in your answer blank, you're gonna miss some points. Not all of them, but you're gonna miss some. Because what am I supposed to put in the answer blank? The volume, right? The maximum volume, which is which number? The Y, 262.68 cubic inches.
Yeah, yours is weird.
What would be the question if I were gonna put this in the answer blank? How much did I cut off? How big were the corners that I cut off of the? Okay? We're rounding to the nearest hundred. Everything's gotta be rounded correctly to get full credit. All right. Now I'm going to the restaurant. I'm gonna pay $16.75. And then there's 2 adjustments. I have to pay a tax and I have to live a tip. Now, those are both add-ons, aren't they? So I'm going to do 1 plus 0.07 and 1 plus 0.15. When would I do 0.85? If it's a discount, if it's on sale, or I have a coupon or something, right? These are both add-ons. I got $20.61, yes indeed. $20.61.
5. So 1 didn't go through. Never mind, guys.
So did
Okay.
you do 30?
Glad you cleared that.
Okay? Now, I've already gotten a head start on my next problem. It's a mixture, and I know I'm gonna set it up with this format. So I've got all these things to fill in. I know my percentages are 0.23, 0.52, and 0.35. Good? How much mixed with 30 ounces, how much are we gonna end up with if I have X and 30, what am I gonna end up with? X plus 30. Exactly what it says, X plus 30. And then solve it. So go ahead and solve it. I got 42.5 ounces, but I'm gonna wait and see if that's what anybody else got.
Yeah.
You got that? All right, and finally, last year's problem. Last year, our book cost 123. Now, it costs 134. How do I find the percent of
Difference
change, which is what, 11? Over original. That will be a decimal, which I will change into a percent. 8.94%.
So am I only moving it over 2
To get the percent, and you have to round off to,
so I couldn't just times it by 100?
and then round it off to the nearest thousand, or the nearest hundred, yeah, after the thousand.
Did you subtract 123 and 134 to get a value?
Yes.
Okay.
Jarvis, have you watched any of the videos from
I did,
Ron?
but I did, but I just
Okay.
needed.
I put
I'm putting
difference.
office hours tomorrow. There wasn't any office hours today,
Difference
so
means subtract.
I'll be with you.
Well, I'm not helping you unless you've watched the videos and completed the
I did.
notes.
I did. I
Okay.
completed them.
All right, here we go, last one, last page. So here's our graph page. So we are starting with a kind of a complicated picture. So what have I got? I got a triangle that's 2. And then I have a little trapezoid. And then I have a big trapezoid. Alright, so there's my given. That's what I'm starting with. Okay? Now I gotta graph this. before I graph it, what is going to happen? What is the change that's gonna come out of this? This is where I draw the right side
Oh, yeah.
exactly as it is. Right? And then I mirror it over on the other side. Okay? Easy if you know the rules. Now, that's different than B. You've got to see the difference, because it's a different problem, a different thing is gonna happen. What does problem B do? Bottoms up. So that means, if it's on the top, I am not going to change it. So if it's on the top, it's gonna stay on the top. There it is. And here it is. But if it's on the bottom, it is going to be flipped up.
No, the big fat line.
So that would be that one.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Okay, what about this one? This one has two things happening. What is happening on this one?
Goes upside down.
We're going to flip it upside down, and we're going to go right one. Now that's a lot for my feeble brain to handle. So I'm gonna start by moving everything right one. So I'm gonna pick that guy up, and I'm gonna move right one. Alright, so here we go, right one, gonna put me over here. Here. Okay, so everything is shoved over one spot. So I did it shape by shape. If you're doing it by points, this point is over 0, up 0, so it's gonna be over 1, up 0. This one is over 1, up 3, so now it's gonna be over 2, up 3, and so on. You can do it point by point. I did it shape by shape. That's this part. Now I need to turn it upside down. So that means this little trapezoid is going up. The triangle is coming down. And the big trapezoid is coming down. So the answer, final answer, would be C. Okay. This is not gonna be good. So, I'm gonna change the negative 1/3 to a negative 1/2, and it still isn't gonna be good. But we'll do the best we can. What's happening here? First of all, what is that negative gonna do? Which way? Sideways. And what is the 1/2 gonna do? Divide the width. So let's just look at this for a minute. This is why this is such a bad situation. How wide is that guy? 3, so now he's gonna be 6, and he's gonna be on the other side. So I'm gonna come over here, and I'm gonna draw my trapezoid. And he's gonna be over here, like that. Now, some of you are concerned about where do you put the points. Well, guys, look, how far over is this first point here in the original picture? How far over is it? How far over is it? 1. So when I flip it over there and double it, it's going to be over 2. This one's over 2, so he's gonna be over 4. And that one's gonna be over 6, because I'm dividing by a half. Dividing by a half is the same as timesing by 2. All right, now it's gonna get really bad. How wide is this triangle? 2. He's coming over here, and now he's gonna be 4. Right, and you're gonna do the best you can, because now we're gonna go off the page. Because the trapezoid is gonna be 6. And I don't have that much space, so I'll do my very best. Draw what I can. That's it. Right? All right, one more. 2f of 2x. What's happening here?
Height times 2 with divided by 6.
Exactly. So this is height times 2. And this is width divided by 2. So basically, what does that mean? Every shape is going to be twice as tall, but half as skinny, wide. So if I think about it like that, it's not too bad. See this little triangle right here? Right now, how tall is he?
3.
How tall is the
Maybe
triangle?
get out there and watch.
2, so he's gonna be 4. And how wide is he right now? 2, but he's only gonna be 1. So I'm gonna have this handy little triangle right here. He's only 1 wide, but he's 4 tall. Now what about the trapezoid? This one. He is 1 tall and 3 wide. So he's gonna become 2 tall and 1.5 wide. Isn't he 3? 1, 2, 3? So 1, he's gonna be this wide, but he's gonna be 2 tall. So he's gonna look like that. 1.5 wide, 2 tall. And then what about my big trapezoid?
1.5 wide and 6 tall.
He's gonna be 1.5 wide, 1.5 wide, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tall. So he's gonna look like that. All right, practice test 3 in the books. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, tomorrow, Friday is our test. If you're not gonna be here Friday, I would suggest you get your little fanny in here before or after school tomorrow, or Monday or Friday before school. Get this thing taken. We have way too much makeup work out there. We gotta start with it. All right, so I handed back everything I had. any homework I had, any quizzes I had, I handed it back to you when you came in the room. So does anyone have a question about any of that? Or I'll just start doing more practice up on the board.
Practice.
Okay, what kind of problem?
Do the,
Andy, you said it first, what?
more of these.
More what?
The SOX graphing one.
Graphing, all right, we'll do another graphing one. This, I'm gonna use a little simple picture.
Oh, chill. Just trying to do my work.
So let's have our original, you'll need to do this on a piece of paper, guys, I'm just making this up as I go. So we're gonna look at a picture,
Dude.
simple little picture that looks like this. Okay? And then let's do, whew, lots going on here. So what's changing? It's going to be upside down. No, no. Not gonna be bottoms up. When is it bottoms up? When the whole problem is the absolute value, and that is not what's happening. The only thing in the absolute value is the x. And what happens when x is in the absolute value?
It reflects.
We draw right and mirror left. Mirror on the left. And then we got a 2 stuck in there too. What does that 2 do?
Divide by.
Divides the width. Okay, there's just too much happening. All right? Okay, are you sure this is something you need to go to? Okay, all right.
Thank you.
So, I'm going to start somewhere. I think I'll start by having the width. So I'm going to take everything and make it half as wide. Well, I only have 2 things. And if I make it half as wide, then that semicircle is only going to be 1. And the triangle is only going to be 1. So would you agree that I'm half as wide? All right, now let's do the absolute value part. What does the absolute value part tell me to do? Just draw the right side and then redraw it over here. So my triangle isn't even part of it anymore. And then, now I've done that and that, so now I have to turn it upside down. So, take my little arcs and turn them upside down. So that would be the answer to the question.
How do you know what order to go in?
I always follow PEMDAS. So in this case, it wouldn't matter. I chose to have, have, and then absolute value. You could have absolute value and then have.
Okay. Should we always do like the upside down or the sideways last?
PEMDAS. Parentheses first. If it's in parentheses, do it first. Okay, so I'll do one more of these. Let's see, how about, what would this look like? Same picture to start with. Y equals 2 f of x minus 1.
Oh, chill.
it's going to move right one, and then height times
I just wanted to.
2. So let's move it right 1, if we move everything over 1, then my triangle is gonna be situated like this. And then my circle will look like that. Does that make sense to everybody, right 1? Now I'm gonna make it twice as tall as it was. 2 times the height. So how tall is the triangle right now? So he's gonna be 4. And my semicircle was 1, so now he's gonna be 2. And so the red would be the answer to the question. Okay? All right, what else do we need to practice? By the way, these are easy, right? If you know the
Formula.
rules. If you don't know the rules, then you might as well bag it, because you have to know what all those numbers mean. But boy, if you do, it's easy. That's easy. What, Jameson?
Can we do practice box problems?
A box, we do one, box problem. So let's say our paper is, let's say 25 by 30, get a big one, big piece of paper. We're gonna cut the corners out, make a box, right? You know, we've done some of these. So we need 3 things. We need to write an equation for the volume. So what would that equation be in this problem? 30 minus 2x. 25 minus 2x, and x. Then we need the domain. And the domain will be an interval. And this part of the interval is always gonna be,
Half this one.
no, this one is always gonna be 0. And then this will be
Half this one.
half, so what, 12 and a half? And then we're ready to go to our calculator.
You just put a fraction.
What?
You just put a fraction.
I mean,
I
I
can
put
put 25 over.
Huh?
I can just leave it 25 over 2.
Absolutely. So x min is 0, x max is 12.5. I'm gonna need a big y max, guys, because that's a big piece of paper. So I picked a big number. I'm not gonna tell you what I picked because I want you to pick your own. Typed in my new equation and hit graph. My number is a little too big, maybe it is fine, it worked. Then second calc max. Left bound, right bound. Yes. Remember, your calculator might give you a point, but unless it literally says maximum, you're wrong. It's gotta say maximum. I got 4.53 and 1512.04. How does that sound? Amazing. So then we have to read the last, this was like part A and part B, and then part C will be the last question. If it says, how big are the corners that I should cut out, you will say 4.53 inches. If it says, what is the maximum volume of the box, you will say 1512.04 cubic inches. Yep. Okay? All right, so who else? What else do we need to do? Yep. So Luke says I've got a couple of parametric
You haven't
equations,
even tried.
like
Yes, I
x equals 3 minus t and y equals 5 plus 4t. And the directions say, write the direct algebraic relationship between x and y. And we know that means get rid of t. So how shall we do that?
Probably multiply it by 4.
If you multiply the top by 4, all the way, everything by 4, the entire every term by 4, and then add it, always add it, to the bottom one, what are you gonna get? 4x plus y, you're adding 4x plus y equals 17. That's your direct algebraic relationship. Okay? Who else? What else?
Inverse.
Find an inverse of what kind of equation? The easy ones or the ones we have to quiz over?
Yeah.
Alright. Goodness, you guys, we've done so many of those. So we got a function like 4x over 6x plus 1. We'll just do one like that, okay? And we're gonna find the inverse. So the answer blank says, fill this in. What is this? Alright, so this is the same as y, right? So then I'll switch my variables. Then what?
Multiply the 6y plus 1.
Bring the denominator over, so we have x times 6y plus 1 equal to 4y. Bring this over to here. Now what? No, not yet. I gotta distribute. Gotta distribute first. And then, after you distribute, then you wanna get all your y's together. So 6xy minus 4y equals negative x. And then factor out the y. Remember, ultimately you can only have one y. So once I get them on the same side, I'll factor it out. And then one more step and I'll be ready to write my answer. Divide by the
6x minus 4.
parentheses. So my answer is gonna be negative x over 6x minus 4. Right? We have time for one more. What's one more? I wanna do, throw two functions up here. And I want you to verify if they are or aren't inverses. So are these inverses or not? So how are we going to check? Pick a number. How about I'm gonna pick an easy number, I'll pick 10. Okay? So I'm gonna put 10 in there. And what do I get if I put 10 in? I get 80 minus, I get 77. That's a great number, by the way. It's the year I graduated from high school. 77. Then what do I do with the 77? Plug it into G. And that's gonna give me 77 plus 3 over 8, which is 80 over 8, which is 10. Are they inverses? Yep, because 10 gave me 77, and 77 gave me 10. They are inverses. All right, so our test is Friday. my suggestion to you is, you got 3 practice tests. I would do one of them